The documents found in the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid were just the beginning. The real bombshell exploded in the secret conversations Trump had been recording for 4 years. But the person who listened to those recordings was Trump's most trusted ally. And now he was about to expose everything. On the cold night of March 18, 2025, former White House advisor Michael Chen sat in the basement of his Washington, D.C. home, unable to believe what he was hearing through his headphones. The external hard drive in his hands didn't just contain 500 gigabytes of data. It contained all the secret conversations Donald Trump had recorded since 2020, and every word Chen heard was capable of shaking American democracy to its core. Chen opened one of the files. Date: November 15, 2020. Title: Operation Comeback Phase 1. The sound quality was crystal clear. Trump's voice came through. "Listen to me carefully. I may appear to have lost this election, but I never lose. The plan is already in place. Everything will be under control by." Chen paused. Was there such a plan in 2020? He had worked at the White House during that period, but he had no knowledge of such an operation. The recording continued. "We couldn't convince Mike Pence, so we're moving to Plan B. Ron, what's your status in Florida?" Another voice. "Don, Florida is completely under our control, but we need more time to act at the national level." Chen's blood ran cold. This was Ron DeSantis' voice, and what they were discussing was clearly an unconstitutional coup plan. Chen opened the second file. Date: January 3, 2021. Title: Plan B. Network Activation. Trump's voice. "Our friends in Georgia are ready. We'll replace Brad Raffensperger. But this time through legal channels." Another voice. Chen recognized this one. It was Trump's legal counsel John Eastman. "Don, this is very risky. If it comes out, it won't come out, John, because the people doing this will be our people. We'll have no official connection." Chen's hand trembled. This conversation took place 3 days before January 6. So the Capitol attack wasn't just a spontaneous action. It was part of a plan. The third file was even more shocking. Date: January 20, 2021. The day Trump left office. "All right, guys, now the real plan begins. Joe Biden became president, but he's just a puppet. The real power will remain with us." Another voice. This sounded familiar, but Chen couldn't quite place it. "Don, our people in the Supreme Court are ready. Clarence Thomas gives full support. Kavanaugh is a bit hesitant but can be convinced." Chen held his breath. Were Supreme Court justices secretly coordinating with Trump? Trump continued. "We'll retake Congress in the 2022 midterms and the presidency in 2024. But this time we won't leave anything to chance." "What's the status on election security?" asked another voice. "We have connections with ES&S and Dominion. We can influence results when necessary. Of course, we'll do this while making it look like we're the victims." Chen's head spun. Was Trump coordinating with voting machine companies? And while doing this, was he claiming to be the victim of election fraud? Chen wanted to open the fourth file, but his phone rang. The caller ID was blocked. "Michael Chen?" An unfamiliar voice. "Yes? We need to talk about the recordings you're listening to. Come outside. I'm waiting in the park across the street." "Who are you?" "Michael, I know where you got those recordings. And I know who gave them to you. If you want to continue living, come now." The line went dead. Chen removed his headphones. His heart was racing wildly. Who had given him these recordings? And why? 3 days ago, his former White House advisor friend David Martinez had called him. "Michael, I want to show you something important. But don't tell anyone." David had given Chen this external drive. It contains all of Trump's secret recordings. Someone decided to leak these. "But I don't have the courage to do it. You have a journalism background. Maybe you." Chen hadn't understood why David was so scared at the time. Now he understood. When Chen went outside, a middle-aged man was waiting in the park. Black coat, hat, typical federal agent appearance. "Michael Chen?" The man approached. "Who are you?" Agent Mark Stevens, FBI. We need to talk about where you got that disc. Chen hesitated. What disc? Michael, this isn't time for games. The disc David Martinez gave you. It contains all of Trump's recordings from 20. If the FBI knows about the existence of these recordings, why aren't you arresting Trump? Stevens laughed, but it was a bitter smile. Because half the FBI are Trump's people. The other half are scared. What do you mean? Michael, those recordings don't just contain Trump's plans. They contain which FBI agents gave him information, which judges cooperated with him, which senators took bribes. Everything is there. Chan's breath caught. Everything? Everything. From Mitch McConnell to Lindsey Graham. From Marco Rubio to Ted Cruz. All their dirty laundry is in those recordings. So why are you telling me? Stevens looked around. Because, Michael, you might be the only journalist who can write this story. The others are either bought or scared. What about the Washington Post? Post editors were told they'd be killed if they print this story. New York Times? The Times owners made a deal with Trump. This story won't come out. Chen sat down. So why am I different? Because you work as an independent journalist. And because your name doesn't appear in those recordings, you're clean. What recordings mention my name? Stevens became serious. Michael, that disc doesn't just have audio recordings. There are video recordings too. Secret meetings at Mar-a-Lago, private conversations at the White House. Trump recorded everything. Why did he record it? Insurance policy. If they betray him, he'll destroy everyone. Mutual assured destruction. Political version. When Chen returned home, he opened the fifth file. This was a video file. Date, June 12, 2023. Location, Mar-a-Lago's private meeting room. On screen were Trump, DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and a few people he didn't recognize. Trump was speaking. The 2024 primaries are just for show. The real plan is to control the general election. DeSantis. Don, this is very risky. If you get caught, Ronnie. Am I going to get caught? Don't forget what you did in Florida. I have those recordings too. DeSantis's face went white. Trump continued, Vivek, you'll handle the media side. X, Facebook, CNN, turn the algorithms in our favor. Vivek Ramaswamy. Don, this requires a lot of money. Money isn't a problem. From Saudi Arabia, from Russia, from China. Everyone wants Trump to come back. Money will flow. Chen paused. Was Trump receiving election financing from foreign countries? Someone else spoke on screen. Chen recognized this person. It was Tucker Carlson. Tucker, Don, Fox News is completely under your control, but other media outlets are harder. Tucker, leave CNN to me. I have an agreement with Anderson Cooper. He'll do what I tell him. Chen was shocked. Had Anderson Cooper made a secret deal with Trump? The sixth file was even more complex. Date, September 18, 2024. Title, Final Phase Preparation. Trump. All right, guys, 50 days until the election. Is everything ready? An unfamiliar voice. Voting machines are ready. We tested in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. We can make 3 to 5% marginal changes. No one will notice. What about Arizona? Arizona is easier. If Kari Lake becomes governor, she'll certify election results however we want. Trump. What about the Supreme Court? Clarence Thomas full support. Amy Coney Barrett has been convinced. Brett Kavanaugh doesn't have much choice. We have those recordings. Samuel Alito is already with us. We're trying to convince Neil Gorsuch. Chen's mind was reeling. How was Trump controlling Supreme Court justices? What about Roberts? Trump asked. John Roberts is problematic. He won't cooperate with us, but we'll have the majority. What about Congress? House is completely ours. 53 votes guaranteed in Senate. Mitch McConnell is coordinating everything. Chen paused. Mitch McConnell seemed openly hostile to Trump. But was he secretly cooperating? The seventh file was the most shocking. Date, November 30, 2024, Election Day. It was a Zoom meeting recording. On screen were Trump and several people he didn't recognize. Trump. All right, what's the status on results? A voice. Don, Pennsylvania has a 50,000 vote margin. Michigan 30, Wisconsin 15,000. All in our favor. Are these margins sufficient? Yes, but they're close. Media might question them. Trump. Media won't question. I'll handle them. Chen saw Trump making a phone call on screen. Jeff, Trump here. Yes, results are announced. I won. But some media outlets will question. How will you present this on CNN? Voice on phone. Don, we have to do objective journalism. Jeff, don't forget those recordings. The ones about your daughter. Long silence. Okay, Don. It'll go smoothly on CNN. When Chen hung up the phone, he was horrified. How was Trump blackmailing media moguls? Chen was thinking about opening the 8th file when his door was knocked. It was 2 a.m. Instead of looking at the door, he went out through the balcony door. He went down the fire escape behind his apartment. But when he got to the street, 2 black SUVs were waiting for him. Michael Chen, someone shouted. FBI, stay where you are. Chen started running. But where could he go? In a world where no one was safe, who could he trust? While running, he made a phone call. He called Agent Stevens. Stevens, FBI is raiding my house. Michael, I told you I'm real FBI. But the people chasing you now are Trump's FBI. What do you mean Trump's FBI? Michael, the FBI is split in two. One half is trying to protect the Constitution. The other half serves Trump. Which one should I trust? Don't trust anyone. Hide that disk somewhere safe and upload the recordings to the internet. All of them. Everywhere. But they're not proven. People won't believe. Michael, there are video recordings, audio recordings, metadata. Everything can be proven. Chen took refuge in an internet cafe. All night, he uploaded all the recordings to different platforms. WikiLeaks, Anonymous, hacker groups. He sent them everywhere. The next morning, Chen's leaked recordings shook America. CNN, breaking. Trump's secret recordings reveal election manipulation. Fox News, fake recordings. Liberal media trying to smear Trump. MSNBC, incredible. Trump has been sabotaging democracy for 4 years. Washington Post, Trump audio files. Supreme Court and Congress conspiracy. But the reaction wasn't what Chen expected. Trump immediately responded, "These recordings are completely fake, generated with artificial intelligence. Liberal media will do anything to destroy me." More shocking was the reaction of Trump supporters. A tweet from Texas. Trump is right. These recordings are fake. Even if they were real, it was necessary to save the country. Another tweet from Florida. If he's fighting against the deep state, everything is permissible. On the third day, Chen received an unexpected call from Agent Stevens. Michael, there's a big problem. What problem? Those recordings, they're real, but not complete. What do you mean not complete? Michael, Trump made those recordings intentionally. He wanted you to find them. Chen's world shook. What? This was all a game. Michael, Trump knew that if these recordings leaked, he could present himself as a victim. And he could keep his real plan secret. What's the real plan? The real plan isn't to try to win elections. The real plan is to divide the country, start a civil war, and establish his own dictatorship in the chaos. Chen sat down. So even these recordings coming out was part of the plan. Yes, Michael, you became Trump's pawn. When Chen returned to his office, a new package was waiting on his desk. Inside was a second external hard drive and a note. The recordings on the first disk are just the beginning. If you want to see the real plan, watch this. Deep. Chen's hand trembled. Was there another deep throat? When he opened the second disc, a completely different world opened before him. These recordings were much older. They went back to 2000. The first file. Date November 15, 2012. Trump's voice was younger, more energetic. Vladimir, I really like your system. We can establish such a system in America too. Putin's voice. Donald, you're not ready yet. First you need to control the media. Then justice. Finally, the military. How long will this take? 12 years. You must be patient. We waited 20 years. Chen held his breath. Had Trump been working with Putin since... The second file was even more shocking. Date, July 23rd. Trump, Xi, we can adapt the Chinese model to America. Single-party system, media control, social credit system. Xi Jinping's translator's voice. Mr. Trump, this takes a lot of time. Americans don't easily give up their freedoms. We'll make them feel free. But in reality, control will be with us. Like in Russia. In the third file was Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Donald, if we control oil prices, we can control elections too. If gas prices rise, people blame the current government. Trump, perfect plan. We'll use this in... Chen now understood. This wasn't just an American conspiracy. This was an international alliance of dictators. In the fourth file, he saw tech giants playing roles. Elon Musk's voice. Donald, after taking over X, we completely changed the algorithms. Content in your favor is seen 10 times more. Mark Zuckerberg. We're doing the same thing on Facebook. But more secretly, no one should notice. Trump, what about Peter Thiel? Thiel's voice. We're tracking financial transactions through PayPal and Palantir. We know who donates how much, who talks to whom, everything. The fifth file deepened the media conspiracy. Rupert Murdoch. Donald, Fox News is just the beginning. We also control New York Post. We're slowly turning Wall Street Journal too. Trump, what about CNN? Jeff Zucker's voice. Jeff is gone, but his replacements work with us. They support you under the guise of objective journalism. MSNBC. MSNBC is difficult, but we'll solve them too. We have some information about Rachel Maddow's past life. Chen was surprised. How could they silence Rachel Maddow? The sixth file contained the darkest secrets. Clarence Thomas, Donald, you've secured the majority in the Supreme Court. But be careful. John Roberts is still trying to act independently. Trump, is it time to use that file about Roberts's son? Still early, but we'll use it if necessary. Samuel Alito, Don, we're completely free in interpreting the Constitution. We can make any decisions you want. Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence is right, but we have a limit. If we're too obvious, people will revolt. Trump, what will people do? Protests? We'll handle those too. The seventh file was the most frightening. An unfamiliar voice. Donald, 70% of police unions are with us. 60% of FBI. 40% of CIA. What about the military? Military is harder. But we convinced some generals. Michael Flynn is just the visible part. Trump, National Guard, Texas. Florida, Arizona, completely ours. We're working on other states too. What about Pentagon? We have work at Pentagon. But we must move carefully. The eighth file detailed election manipulation. Dominion CEO. Donald, our machines can give you the result you want, but we can't do more than 5% margin. It would be noticed. ES&S representative, our machines are safer. We can go up to 10%. Trump, which states can we use these in? Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, possible in all of them. The ninth file had internet control strategies. Google CEO, Donald, we adjusted search algorithms in your favor. Negative news appears lower. YouTube, we also control video recommendations. Your supporters see more content. TikTok, we use TikTok to influence the young generation. We hide political messages among dance videos. The 10th file showed control over the economy. Goldman Sachs CEO, Donald, the stock market can be dropped or raised whenever you want. We can turn the economy in your desired direction before elections. JP Morgan, we also control credit rates. We can directly affect Americans' economic situation. Federal Reserve, we have our people at the Fed. We can adjust monetary policy according to your election strategy. The 11th file had foreign policy conspiracies. Netanyahu, Donald, Israel is completely on your side. If necessary, The Jewish lobby in Congress will support you. Erdogan. Turkey also supports you. I have influence in NATO. Modi. India is with you too. Indian CEOs in Silicon Valley will support you. The 12th file contained the bureaucracy plan. Steve Bannon. Donald will clean all federal institutions. We'll fire 50,000 civil servants. We'll put our people in their place. Which institutions do we target first? Justice Department, FBI, CIA, NSA, IRS. We'll clean them all. If there's resistance, we'll arrest the resistors. We'll charge them with treason. The 13th file contained the most terrifying plan. General Flynn. Donald, you can deploy the military in the streets using the Insurrection Act. With what excuse? Mass uprising, anarchy, national security threat. We'll find any excuse. If Congress resists, we'll besiege the Capitol building. If forced, you'll dissolve Congress. The 14th file planned media silencing. How will we silence CNN? We'll cancel FCC licenses. We'll say it's a national security threat. New York Times, we'll do tax audits. We'll unleash IRS on them. Washington Post, we'll impose big fines on Amazon. We'll force Bezos. The 15th file clearly stated the ultimate goal. Trump, there won't be elections in 2020. We'll change the Constitution. Indefinite presidency system. Will people accept it? By then people will have lost their choice. Either they'll accept me, or what? Or they'll disappear. When Chen opened the last file, he heard his own name. Trump's voice. Michael Chen leaked the recordings at a perfect time. Now the country is divided in two. Our plan is working. Another voice. What will we do with Chen? We'll find Chen and eliminate him. But first, we'll learn where he got those recordings. What about other recordings? Other recordings. Michael only saw 10%. 90% of the real plan is still secret. Chen's blood froze. Had he only seen 10%? At that moment his door was forced open. 6 people in black uniforms entered. Michael Chen, put your hands up. Chen raised his hands. I'm a journalist. My constitutional rights. Constitution is suspended now, Michael. You're a terrorist. They handcuffed Chen and took him in a black car. 6 months later, Chen was in a cell in a federal prison. Outside, Trump had established a dictatorship. The Constitution was suspended. Congress was dissolved. The Supreme Court was under Trump's command. But Chen had a secret. He had programmed the recordings on that disk to automatically send to 100 different countries. Trump could catch him. But the truth could never be buried. And one day, that truth would come out. Maybe it would be too late, but it would come out. Chen waited for that day in his cell. But Chen didn't know that the automatic system he had programmed had already started working. Every passing day, journalists, politicians, and activists around the world were receiving mysterious emails. These emails contained audio and video recordings that revealed Trump's real plan. First, Der Spiegel magazine in Germany published the story. The headline was, America's Secret Dictator Trump's 12-Year Plan. The recordings had been translated into German and every word was shocking. The next day, Le Monde newspaper in France put the story on the front page. The news published with the headline, La Conspiration Trump, comment il a détruit la démocratie américaine, caused great repercussions in Europe. Emmanuel Macron urgently called a European Union meeting. America is no longer a democratic country, Macron said. These recordings are documents of the greatest democratic coup in world history. In England, BBC made a special midnight broadcast analyzing the recordings. The Guardian prepared a full-page special file. In the file titled, Trump's Secret Files: How Democracy Died in America. The conspiracy spanning from 2012 to 20. After listening to the recordings, Boris Johnson held a press conference. If these recordings are real, we must re-evaluate our special relationship with America. In Japan, NHK television translated and broadcast the recordings. The Xi Jinping-Trump conversations in the recordings attracted particular attention. The Japanese government held an emergency security meeting. Trump's secret agreement with China is changing the balance of power in the Pacific, said Prime Minister Kishida. Japan's security is at risk. In Russia, the situation was more complex. When Putin's 2012 conversation with Trump leaked, the Kremlin initially characterized the recordings as fake Western propaganda. But Russian opposition leaders attacked Putin using the recordings. Alexei Navalny's followers protested in Moscow streets. "Putin destroyed America too," they shouted. In China, when Xi Jinping's voice was heard, the situation became even more complicated. The Chinese government denied the recordings, but protesters in Hong Kong played the recordings in the streets with megaphones. "Xi is the leader of world dictators," they shouted. The Taiwanese government doubled its defense budget, citing the recordings as a security justification. In Saudi Arabia, the emergence of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's voice shook the country. Saudi opposition criticized the monarchy using the recordings. "MBS manipulated America," they wrote on social media. The Saudi government characterized the recordings as an American intelligence operation, but doubts had already grown. In Turkey, when Erdogan's voice was heard, opposition parties caused an uproar in parliament. The CHP leader said, "Erdogan is destroying world democracy together with Trump." Erdogan characterized the recordings as montage, but voice analysis experts confirmed the recordings were real. In America, the situation was completely different. The Trump government had declared all foreign press enemy media. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all presented the recordings as fake documents produced by foreign enemies. But access to recordings over the internet couldn't be completely blocked. Americans who listened to the recordings using VPNs shared their reactions on social media. A secret resistance movement emerged in New York. Former FBI agents, retired military personnel, fired journalists. They all came together to form an organization called American Liberation Front. Their leader was former CIA Director John Brennan. "These recordings prove that America is under occupation," Brennan said. "Trump is an invader, and we are the resistance." California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he did not recognize the Trump government. "California no longer considers the federal government legitimate," Newsom said. "These recordings show that Trump came to power through illegal means." New York Governor Kathy Hochul made a similar statement. America was effectively beginning to split in two. In Texas, the situation was completely opposite. Governor Greg Abbott announced that he would give full support to Trump. "These recordings are the deep state's last effort," Abbott said. Texas stands with President Trump. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was silent. Having his own voice in the recordings put him in a difficult position. A major cleanup began at the Pentagon. All generals not loyal to Trump were retired. National Guard units were deployed to Washington, D.C. Tanks and armored vehicles roamed the streets. America was now officially a military dictatorship. Chen's cellmate in prison was Robert Martinez, a former Washington Post journalist. Martinez had been arrested for the article he wrote about Trump's recordings. "Michael," Martinez said one night, "the recordings you leaked changed the world. But they couldn't save America." Chen looked out the window. Behind the prison walls, it was getting harder to believe there was a free America. "Maybe we couldn't save America," Chen said. "But we warned the world. We stopped Trump's model from spreading to other countries." Martinez was right. European countries had removed politicians who adopted the Trump model from elections. Bolsonaro's comeback plans in Brazil had fallen through. Major protests against Modi had begun in India. A year later, Chen's recordings were deemed worthy of the Nobel Peace Prize. The award was given to unknown heroes who protected world democracy. Chen watched the award ceremony on television from prison. The Norwegian Royal Committee chairman who gave the speech said, "These recordings are the most important leak, documenting one of history's darkest moments. The people who revealed these documents are the true heroes of world freedom." But Chen's real goal still hadn't been achieved: saving America. In his third year in prison, An unexpected development occurred. A new prisoner was brought to his cell. This person was former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Bannon had been arrested after his relationship with Trump soured. "Michael Chen," Bannon said the first night. "Thanks to you, I'm here too." Chen was surprised. "What do you mean?" "Trump was very angry that my name appeared in the recordings you leaked. He accused me of treason." Chen asked curiously. "So do you know the truth? Trump's real plan?" Bannon smiled. "Michael, you said you only saw 10%. I know 100%. Chen's heart raced. "Will you tell me?" "I won't just tell you," Bannon said. "I'll also give you the final files. Because now I want Trump to fall. He brought me to this situation." That night Bannon told Chen Trump's biggest secret. Trump's real plan wasn't to govern America. His plan was to destroy America and establish his own global empire in its place. After Trump destroys the American state, he plans to become the leader of world dictators, Bannon said. Putin, Xi, Erdogan, MBS. They'll all be under his command. Chen couldn't believe it. "Is this possible?" "Of course it's possible," Bannon said. "Because Trump now controls the world's most powerful military and nuclear weapons, but he has one weakness." "What?" "The real recordings are still secret. I know where those recordings are, and I can teach you how to reach them." Chen's hope was rekindled. Maybe it wasn't too late to save America. Maybe they still had a chance. He couldn't sleep that night. He was making plans in his head. How could he obtain the final recordings that would bring down Trump? And when he obtained them, could the world stop the Trump dictatorship? The next morning, Bannon gave Chen a piece of paper. An address was written on it. "This address is where Trump's most secret recordings are kept," Bannon said. "But reaching there is very difficult. Because this is prison." Chen looked at the paper. The address showed the secret bunker under Mar-a-Lago. "So how will I get there?" Chen asked. Bannon smiled. "I'll give you a plan. But first, make me a promise." "What promise?" "When you get these recordings, you won't just destroy Trump. You'll destroy the entire system. Putin, Xi, Erdogan, MBS. All of them." Chen thought. This wasn't just saving America. This meant saving the entire world. "Okay," Chen said. "I promise." That night Bannon told Chen the escape plan. The plan was complex, risky, but Chen had no other choice. America's future depended on this plan.